the grassroots level. The Indian Navy's national presence by design is limited to a few naval bases and air stations across the country. Our operation in support of our national interests are conducted hundreds of miles from our shores, unseen by large percentage of our countrymen. It has therefore been the Navy's endeavor that if the people cannot come to the Navy, we will take Navy to the people. Our public outreach therefore has several lines of effort. As you are aware, over the last 2 years, we have conducted our Navy Day operational demonstration on both west and east coast at locations other than where our major naval stations are located. Here we literally take the Navy to our people, showcasing snippets of the Navy's operational prowess right from the shoreline, witnessed by thousands of Indian citizens. In order to reach out to the students, we conducted a unique national level quiz over the last 2 years called Think Q. From the inaugural edition with 6,430 odd schools, the recently concluded 2024 edition engaged with nearly twice the number, 12,650 schools across the country. With a view to increase maritime conversations across regions and age groups, we collaborated with Amar Chitrakatha to publish a series of books in 9 regional languages depicting our maritime heritage. Inclusion of maritime history of India in school curriculum has been taken up with NCERT. Our officers and veterans are also featuring on NCERT webinar series, Listening to Learn. As I speak, 2 women naval officers, Lieutenant Commander Dilna and Lieutenant Commander Rupa, are circumnavigating the globe on board Indian Naval Sailing Boat vessel Tarini. The duo crossed Point Nemo, remotest oceanic location on Earth, situated approximately 2,688 kilometers from the nearest landmass on 30th January 25. Another noteworthy initiative is the partnership with the Ministry of Culture for the Ancient Stitch Ship project, which aims to reinvigorate the rich history of Indian shipbuilding. The ship is expected to be ready this year and make its maiden voyage. The Indian Navy is also deeply involved in the ongoing National Maritime Heritage Complex at Lothal, Gujarat. At another level, we have also engaged the academic community and scholars in conversations about policies and strategy through the Indo-Pacific Regional Dialogue (IPRD) conducted annually by the Indian Navy and NMF. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, to my mind, increased maritime consciousness and resulted evolution of maritime thought will catalyze our rise as a strong maritime power. In building this power, our government's push for Admiral in thought and in action has presented us with numerous opportunities. Our country is so vast and our demography so varied that the task would need a whole of nation effort, and the Indian Navy and NMF would leave no stone unturned in charting this course. In conclusion, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the Nayyar family for joining us today. Admiral Nayyar's legacy is a guiding light for the Indian Navy, and I am confident that we will honor and build upon his enduring contributions. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Jai Hind, Saunavarna.
Thank you, sir. We have arrived at a singularly poignant moment where we eulogize Vice Admiral K.K. Nayyar through the eyes of his son, Mr. Ashok Nayyar. Sir, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Honorable former President Kovind, Admiral Tripathi, Admiral Karambir Singh, Admiral Joshi, and distinguished guests. thank you for holding and participating in the annual Vice Admiral K.K. Nayyar Memorial Lecture. My sister Geeta and I are honored by your presence. My father was a proud Indian, a proud Hindu, and a proud Indian Navy man. He would be amazed and delighted at the progress India has made since his passing in 2018. Leaders like former President Kovind and Prime Minister Modi have taken and put India among the top few nations in the world. Indeed, its rightful place. My father had a diverse set of interests that ranged from the obvious, the Indian Navy and the armed forces of India, to Indian history, to economics, to the development and empowerment of women. Some of these coincide with those of President Kovind, and my father would be proud to be in such good company. Admiral Nayyar read a lot about these areas. He spoke at many conferences, and most importantly, spent a lot of time discussing and advising practitioners like technocrats, politicians, bureaucrats, and journalists. He believed in dialogue, judgment, and research to be the basis for coming to conclusions and determining the path forward. In this regard, he was instrumental in founding a variety of think tanks, as has been mentioned before me. He founded the National Maritime Foundation, Forum for Strategic Studies, and the Policy Foundation. He also co-founded the Observer Research Foundation, ORF, and was instrumental at the Vivekananda International Foundation as its chairman for several years until his passing. All these organizations are focused on research on topics that concern us today, but also on what India needs several decades from now. NMF is a perfect example of that. My sister and I miss our father and are proud of what he achieved and started. This annual memorial lecture is a fitting tribute to him and his ideals. Once again, I would like to thank all of you, and in particular former President Kovind, for gracing us with his presence. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable former President has graciously agreed to release the latest outcome document of the Vice Admiral K.K. Nayyar Fellowship, which had been established at the National Maritime Foundation in 2020 by Mr. Ashok Nayyar and Ms. Geeta Nayyar in memory of their late father. The fellowship promotes and supports intellectual and policy relevant research on subjects of maritime consequence to India, and in doing so commemorates the life and achievements of this great giant of Indian maritime thinking. This year, the fellowship project has culminated in a monograph that examines the potential for leveraging the geostrategic location of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands in addressing India's holistic security challenges, especially those emanating from China's growing maritime footprint in the Indian Ocean region. Entitled The Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Eastern Sentinel of India's Maritime Security, it has been authored by Captain Kamlesh Kumar Agnihotri, Indian Navy, who is a senior fellow at the NMF. I request the author, Captain K.K. Agnihotri, to join the dignitaries on stage. Sir, may I request you to honor us by formally releasing the monograph. We thank you for your presence and your encouraging words on this occasion, sir. May I now request the Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh Tripathi, to present a token of our gratitude and appreciation to our guest of honor, Shri Ramnath Kovind. Thank you, sir. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I know that all of us are on the edge of our seats in keen anticipation of the 2025 Vice Admiral K.K. Nayyar Memorial Address, which Sri Ramnath Kovind, Honorable former President of the Republic of India, has graciously consented to deliver on the theme of enhancing maritime consciousness. It is with an abiding sense of honor that I request Sri Kovind to enlighten us.
Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Dinesh Tripathi ji, Admiral D.K. Joshi, presently serving as Lieutenant Governor, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and former CNS, Chairman of National Maritime Foundation, and former Chief of the Naval Staff, Admiral Karamveer Singh ji, Director General of National Maritime Foundation, Vice Admiral Pradeep Chauhan ji, son and daughter of Vice Admiral K.K. Nayyar, Sri Ashok Nayyar, and Geeta Nayyar, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I am happy to be among all of you, distinguished personalities today. It is a privilege for me to address you at this lecture series instituted in the memory of Admiral K.K. Nayyar, one of India's most distinguished naval leaders. Admiral Nayyar provided 3.5 decades of distinguished service to our nation and had the rare distinction of commanding both the eastern as well as the western fleets of the Indian Navy. He was an excellent maritime strategist and a visionary who planted the seeds of naval research and strategic thinking across several institutions of India. I congratulate the National Maritime Foundation for instituting a memorial lecture series to honor his legacy. Ladies and gentlemen, India's maritime heritage is a testament to its long-standing relationship with the sea, encompassing trade, culture, and naval prowess. This rich legacy has significantly influenced our nation's history and its interactions with the wider world. The roots of India's maritime activities are about 5,000 years old and trace back to the Indus Valley civilization. Sites like Lothal, located about 400 kilometers southwest of Ahmedabad, have unveiled a sophisticated dockyard. Archaeologists consider it to be the world's first man-made dockyard and one of the world's earliest known dry docks. We can get a sense of the advanced nautical engineering of that era. The inhabitants of Harappan civilization engaged in active maritime trade with Mesopotamia as evidenced by various artifacts and records. Ladies and gentlemen, maritime themes are also prevalent in Vedic literature. The Rig Veda, one of our oldest known scriptures, mentions Varuna, the deity associated with the sea, and alludes to merchants undertaking sea voyages in pursuit of wealth. The epics Ramayana and Mahabharata also contain narratives involving ships and sea travel. These references indicate the significance of maritime activities in ancient Indian culture. During the reigns of Nanda and Maurya dynasties, maritime trade expanded significantly. The establishment of trade links with regions such as Sri Lanka, Southeast Asia and West Asia facilitated not only the exchange of goods but also cultural and religious ideas. This period saw Indian merchants and missionaries traversing sea routes, leading to the spread of Buddhism and Hinduism across Asia. In the medieval era, the Chola dynasty emerged as a formidable maritime force. The Cholas undertook naval expeditions and extended their influence to Southeast Asia, including present-day Indonesia and Malaysia. Their maritime activities have left a lasting impact on the history, art, architecture, and administration of Southeast Asian countries. Ladies and gentlemen, our coastal heritage played such a defining role in our civilizational, social culture, and economic history. In this light, it is hard to believe that our medieval period was characterized by maritime neglect. This maritime neglect happened due to historical circumstances. During the medieval period, various land-based empires gained prevalence. Many of such rulers had origins in the landlocked regions and were more focused on managing vast land territories. Our collective consciousness started to overlook the sea as an avenue of power and prosperity. As a result, slowly but surely, our naval prowess began to fade. Ladies and gentlemen, for India, a historical maritime nation, this period of oceanic obliviousness was indeed an anomaly. Nonetheless, this neglect of the maritime domain exacted a huge toll. It was one of the reasons why such huge land empires fell so easily to the European trading companies. Ladies and gentlemen, even during this maritime dark age, our maritime heritage was not completely lost. Kanoji Angde is one such name who carried the flame of our maritime heritage. As Chief of Maratha Navy, Kanoji Angde skillfully commandeered the Maratha fleet and played a vital role in shaping the geopolitics of that time. At its zenith, the Maratha fleet exerted control over the Arabian Sea and protected the Konkan and Mumbai coasts from the formidable colonial powers, including the British, Dutch and Portuguese. This control over the bustling ports of the western coastline and trade routes enriched the Maratha treasury. This maritime prosperity also enabled the Maratha Empire to exert influence over a much larger region and granted them power and autonomy in dealing with European colonial powers. Kanoji Angde's saga is a reminder of the far-reaching impact of maritime power on a civilization's socio-economic and geopolitical aspects. Ladies and gentlemen, European colonization led to a complete wash out of India's maritime identity. The colonizers used India's maritime prowess for their own benefit. They employed maritime infrastructure as a tool for resource extraction rather than development. Any attempts at industrialization and development of the local maritime industry were systematically stifled. Our maritime roots were forgotten and an era which is often described as maritime blindness set in. Ladies and gentlemen, just a few decades back, our Navy started its journey with the construction of small patrol boats. Today, we are able to indigenously manufacture aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. Within a span of a few decades, the Indian Navy has evolved from a coastal defense force to a blue water navy. This is a commendable achievement. Do you know how this transformation occurred? Ladies and gentlemen, behind this transformation are the efforts of numerous Karma Yogis dedicated to reclaiming our maritime heritage. Admiral K.K. Nayyar was one such visionary naval leader. He clearly recognized the critical role of maritime strength in national security and economic prosperity. At a time when global geopolitics was rapidly evolving, he foresaw the necessity of a robust naval force to protect India's trade routes, ensure regional stability, and project power in the Indian Ocean. One of his most significant contributions was the advocacy for self-reliance in naval capability. During his tenure as Director Naval Plans and Assistant Chief of Naval Staff Policy and Plans, he focused on enhancing India's naval capabilities through indigenous technological advancements and shipbuilding exercise. He understood that true maritime strength could not be achieved solely through foreign acquisitions. Instead, India needed indigenous technological advancements, shipbuilding expertise, and a strong defense industrial base. I am happy to observe that over the past few years, India has made significant strides in indigening its naval and shipbuilding industry. The Indian Navy has transitioned from a buyer's navy to a builder's navy. With a substantial focus on indigenous design and construction, I am told that 63 out of 64 warships planned for induction are being built in Indian shipyards. The indigenous aircraft carrier INS Vikrant stands as a testament to India's shipbuilding prowess. I was privileged to visit this aircraft carrier at Kochi in the year 2021. This Project was a pan-India collaborative effort involving major industrial houses and over 100 micro, small and medium enterprises. Ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to know that the recently inducted nuclear submarine INS Arighat also features indigenous systems and equipment. I urge everyone present here to strongly pursue defense indigenization of your level, at your level. Not only will it ensure self-reliance in security, it will productively engage our engineering talent. It will generate lucrative job opportunities for our youth, and it has the potential to reverse the brain drain also. Technological innovations spurred by defense indigenization would also have several positive effects downstream. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Nayyar was also a strong proponent of strategic maritime partnerships. He recognized that India's security was deeply interconnected with regional and global maritime dynamics. He advocated forging partnerships for developing robust defense and trade networks. India launched the Sagar initiative in 2015 to overscore our nation's commitment to foster a secure and stable maritime environment in the Indian Ocean region. Being true to our ancient roots of bringing everyone together, the Sagar initiative emphasizes collaborative efforts to ensure both security and economic prosperity across the region. The Indian Navy has an instrumental role in the success of Sagar initiative through joint maritime exercises and anti-piracy operations, through humanitarian assistance and disaster relief missions, through capacity building and information sharing. Indian Navy has built a reputation of competence, reliability and professionalism. We have won the trust of the littoral nations in the Indian Ocean region, and many now actively seek us out as a security provider in the region. This is a victory for our maritime diplomacy. Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Nayyar's contributions to maritime thought extended to policy making and national security discourse. After his retirement, he continued to influence maritime policy by helping establish think tanks such as this National Maritime Foundation, Observer Research Foundation and the Vivekanand International Foundation. As head of National Maritime Foundation, Admiral Nayyar worked to increase maritime awareness in India, emphasizing India's historical identity as a maritime nation and promoting the strategic importance of the seas for India's economic development. Ladies and gentlemen, today India is actively advancing its blue economy through a series of initiatives aimed at sustainable utilization of ocean resources for economic growth. There is emphasis on sectors such as fisheries, tourism, ocean energy and deep sea mining. The Sagarmala project was initiated in 2016 to promote port-led development by creating world-class ports and integrating them with special economic zones, industrial clusters and hinterland infrastructure. We have an exclusive economic zone of about 2 million square kilometers and an extended continental shelf that provides us enormous resource potential. Deep Ocean mission has been launched to explore our seas for resources like gas hydrates and polymetallic nodules and develop deep sea technologies for sustainable use of ocean resources. Just last year, INS Sandhyayak, first survey vessel large ship, was commissioned into the Indian Navy. It will enhance our hydrographic survey capabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, India's maritime sector is poised for significant growth. We have a coastline of more than 11,000 kilometers projecting into the heart of the Indian Ocean. Our geography provides us a commanding position in a major international sea route connecting the east and the west. Over 40% of global trade passes through the Indian Ocean. Herein lies an immense opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, generally people engage in high endeavors when they know their history. By knowing their past, they become driven by a conscious feeling of their destiny. Therefore, we have to make our fellow Indians aware about their glorious maritime history. This will instill in them a national pride, a yearning for achievement, and an impulse to reclaim their destiny. I am happy that the government is taking steps to honor India's maritime legacy, educate the public, stimulate tourism, and foster a deeper appreciation for the nation's seafaring traditions. In December last year, the first Indian Maritime Heritage Conclave was held. I am happy that a National Maritime Heritage Complex is being constructed at Lothal to preserve and promote our nautical traditions. Ladies and gentlemen, our journey from an ancient civilization to a modern republic underscores the integral role of the maritime domain in shaping our nation. As we navigate the currents of the 21st century, our deeply ingrained maritime legacy would steer our way to becoming a leading global maritime power. Seas are not just vast stretches of water, they are lifelines of trade, security, and national prosperity. We are not just a nation with maritime interests. Indeed, we are a maritime nation. Ladies and gentlemen, with your permission, I would like to share some of my experiences with the Navy. Many of the faces present here are familiar to me, and I feel privileged to address you all. When I assumed the office of the President of India, I also became a part of naval fraternity. Over the years, I have had the opportunity to witness firsthand the exceptional dedication, professionalism, and valor of the Indian Navy. Let me share some cherished moments from my presidential journey. The first occasion was 8th December 2017 at Visakhapatnam. My first visit to an Indian Navy formation after assuming office as the President of India was to Visakhapatnam on 8 December 2017. On this significant occasion, I was especially pleased to present the President's colour to the submarine arm of the Indian Navy. The event was a testament to the Navy's unyielding commitment to safeguarding our maritime frontiers and its steadfast pursuit of excellence. The second occasion was 20th November 2019 at Indian Naval Academy. It was my privilege to award the President's Color to the Indian Naval Academy on 20th November 2019. As I observed the Academy's state-of-the-art infrastructure and the rigorous training regime in place, I became convinced that the Navy has made the right investments in grooming its future leaders. The Academy's contribution to preparing officers of high caliber who will serve the nation with distinction is truly commendable. The third occasion was 13 February 2020. It was at INS Shivaji. Another proud moment for me was presenting the President's Color to INS Shivaji on 13 February 2020. This prestigious institution, originally commissioned in 1945 as HMIS Shivaji, has evolved into a premier technical training center. It has kept pace with the rapidly advancing field of maritime engineering, ensuring that the Indian Navy remains at the forefront of technological excellence. It was gratifying to learn that over 2 lakh officers and sailors, including personnel from friendly foreign countries, have been trained at this remarkable institution. The fourth occasion was at Indian Naval Aviation. On 6 September 2021, I had the honor of presenting the President's Color to Indian Naval Aviation. This was yet another moment of immense pride as the Indian Navy continues to strengthen its capabilities in air power, ensuring the defense of our maritime interests and upholding our national security. The fifth occasion was the Presidential Fleet Review at Visakhapatnam, a moment that I can never forget was attending the Presidential Fleet Review at Visakhapatnam on 21st February 2022. It was a spectacular and marvelous experience to witness the readiness and operational prowess of the Indian Navy. The grand history, the grand display of naval ships, submarines, aircraft and other maritime elements showcased not only their professional competence but also their unwavering commitment to national security. The Fleet Review reaffirmed the Navy's preparedness to respond to any challenge and protect our maritime interests. The sixth occasion was 25th March 2022 at INS Valsura, Jamnagar. My association with the Indian Navy was further strengthened when I had the honor of presenting the President's Color to INS Valsura at Jamnagar on 25th March 2022. This institution has played a vital role in shaping the India's electrical and electronic warfare capabilities, contributing significantly to technological advancements in our defense forces. Ladies and gentlemen, each of these occasions has left an indelible impression on me, reinforcing my admiration for the nation's Navy's dedication, discipline and professionalism. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women of the Navy who serve our nation with unmatched valor and unwavering commitment. Their sacrifices and efforts ensure that our seas remain safe and our sovereignty secure. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, I would like to appeal everybody present here. Let us continue to draw inspiration from Admiral K.K. Nayyar's wisdom, leadership and unwavering commitment towards developing India's maritime strength. I urge you to imbibe his passion for maritime domain and tireless dedication to ensure that India remains a formidable maritime power ready to meet the challenges of the future. May Lord Varuna always be auspicious unto us. Sung no Varuna. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Those were indeed pearls of wisdom for all of us to treasure. To draw this momentous event to a close, may I request Vice